Hello and welcome to this video on environmental impacts. We're going to look at how humans impact land, water, and air, and how their impact on those affects the natural resources available for use. This is just the wastewater treatment facility near you. It's actually in Boulder County. What is carrying capacity? You've heard this before. Carrying capacity is just the largest number of individuals of a particular species that the environment can support, given whatever natural resources are available. If natural resources are consumed too quickly or the environment is threatened, somehow threatening the natural resources, populations will suffer. Here is a graph showing human population. Human population growth rates remained fairly steady until the middle of the 19th century, when the growth rate began to increase rapidly. A lot of that had to do with advances in modern medicine, availability of clean water and better nutrition, the fact that people began to live longer, and people survived to a childbearing age, so the number of births increased tremendously. You can see that as this chart continues, the question would be, could the human population reach its carrying capacity? So humans impact land, water, and air. Let's take a look at how we impact each of those. Looking at the impact on land, agriculture definitely impacts the land. In order to feed the growing numbers of human population, farmers oftentimes plant higher yielding seeds. They use stronger nitrate and phosphate based fertilizers, herbicides and pesticides for weed and pest control as well. And those tremendously increase the amount of food we can grow, but if not managed properly, they can have a negative impact by potentially polluting soil and water and endangering animals. Oftentimes, organic farming methods are used to reduce the pollution and other negative impacts on the land. However, currently, organic farming methods would not be able to produce the amount of food needed to sustain the world's growing population. Urban development is another big impact on the land. It can give very negative impacts on the land. For example, paving prevents water from soaking into the soil. And so instead of soaking into the soil, water runs off into sewers or streams and increases stream discharge and threats of flooding. Deforestation is another impact that humans have on land. About 25% of Earth's total land area is covered by forest. And deforestation is just the clearing of that for some use. It could be for agriculture, grazing, urban development, logging. And it's estimated that right now, about 94,000 square kilometers each year are deforested. So obviously that has negative impacts such as reducing or possibly contributing to the extinction of some of the organisms that live there. Also, plants remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and deforestation increases the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So all of those have a huge impact on our environment. Waste is another negative impact on land. And every time you throw garbage into the trash can, you're producing waste. And waste sometimes can even be hazardous waste. It could be poisonous or cancer-causing or harmful in some way to humans or animals. Our government has set aside areas of land that are protected. National and state parks are protected from deforestation, from urban development, from waste disposal, and things like that. So those are some ways that different countries have tried to grapple with this impact on land. So there's obvious impact on water. From human population. Water is really important. Plants need water to convert energy into food. Many organisms make water their home. 60% of the human body is composed of water. So living things are greatly affected if water becomes polluted. What are some sources of pollution? Industry is one source of pollution. Mining can release metals, toxic chemicals into water. Here is wastewater runoff from strip mining flowing into the Ohio River. Oil and gas is contributor to a source of pollution. And a lot of oil and gas pollutants cause cancer. There are a lot of laws requiring new gasoline storage tanks have a double layer of steel to prevent spills, such as this one, and help try to protect our soil and water from the damage that's caused. Human waste is a source of pollution. Every time you flush your toilet or take a shower, you create wastewater. So in most cities in the U.S., underground pipes route water from homes and schools and businesses to sewage treatment plants. And treatment plants then remove pollutants in a series of steps. And they purify that water and then recycle it back into the environment. So impact on air. There are a lot of different types of pollution. There is air pollution caused from natural and from manufactured sources. For example, cars, buses, trucks release exhaust into the atmosphere, factories and power plants as well. Dust from farms and construction sites contribute to air pollution, but there are also natural sources of air pollution, particles and gases emitted into the air from erupting volcanoes or forest fires as well. Let's look at some different specific types of pollution. Smog, and in particular photochemical smog, is a term used to describe the pollution that results from the reaction between sunlight and vehicle or factory exhaust. Here's a picture of some smog in Beijing. So when sulfur, nitrogen, and carbon-based compounds from the exhaust react with oxygen in the presence of sunlight, ozone is actually produced, O3. Ozone, high in the atmosphere, protects us from UV radiation from the sun. But ozone near the Earth's surface is very damaging, causes breathing problems. It's very toxic to us to be breathing. Another source of pollution or type of pollution, CFCs, stands for chlorofluorocarbons. They are compounds that can leak from old air conditioners or refrigerators. Also aerosols have CFCs in them. And the reaction from CFCs destroys ozone molecules. And remember, ozone is important to have in our atmosphere, the higher atmosphere, so that it protects us from UV radiation. CFCs also are reused. So here's a CFC molecule reacting with one of the chlorines from this CFC molecule, reacts with the ozone molecule to break it down and give just oxygen and a chlorine monoxide molecule. Then this chlorine atom is allowed to do it again and again. It's a catalyst for this reaction. Acid precipitation is another type of pollution, and that occurs when the sulfur, nitrogen, and carbon-based compounds react with moisture to form acids. It can corrode metals, cause harm to plants and animals. And one question for you, what kinds of things could you do to reduce pollution? Something to think about. Advanced ideas. Here are a few. You can take your pick, or maybe you have some questions or interesting things you'd like to research of your own that's related to any of these topics. I look forward to seeing what you come up with, and we'll see you in class.